Now, we want to get to a warning from President Biden about a growing security threat happening right at our fingertips. Russia's act of war may extend beyond the border of Ukraine and spill into the online world. The White House's top cybersecurity aide says there has been increased activity in scanning websites and hunting for vulnerable places to hit, but says there is no specific evidence of targets. And Katie, the Biden administration stresses that companies must protect their online infrastructure.
Have to. There is a lot of concern that Russia could retaliate against U.S. sanctions or other support for Ukraine with cyber attacks. Are we prepared? I asked a former military man turned cybersecurity firm CEO right here at home what we need to be doing right now. What are the cybersecurity threats that we're seeing right now from Russia?
Over the last few weeks, we've seen some pretty significant increases in output from Russia, not only in terms of attack quantity, but in terms of what sectors or industries they're going after. Years ago, it was purely a political destabilization game. If we go back 10 years ago, the whole idea was how does Russia influence whether it's our elections or the social fabric of our society and kind of turn American against American, ideology against ideology. That sort of shifted a few years ago and became more of a critical infrastructure threat. So energy sector, telecommunications, obviously defense, government facilities. Now what we're seeing is an effort to start to disrupt more businesses and supply chain effort because, among other things, the businesses are the ones that are making some of the weapons that are used in Ukraine. So anything they can do to disrupt that supply chain or to sow seeds of discontent or misinformation, not only domestically here in the U.S., but between allies.
What should companies and governments be doing right now to protect against these cyber threats?
From a company standpoint, I would say the very first thing you need to do is take a look at your defenses. How are your cyber defenses arrayed? Really to take a look at your organization as a whole and the cyber posture and maturity of that organization as a whole, and don't dismiss the idea of insider threat. More and more we're seeing insider threat being a vector that the Russians are using to gain access to systems. With governments, we usually see that it's the same techniques, same technologies, whether it's insider threat or direct attacks or ransomware or malware, all of the same techniques are deployed. They just add the additional layer, especially here domestically in the US, they'll add the additional layer of political uncertainty. How do I create and sow seeds of dissent or seeds of doubt, which either slows decisions or creates discord and the inability to come to consensus and make a decision?
What percentage of companies, of US companies, US governments, on the state, county, city levels, what percentage are properly protected against these kind of cyber threats?
Mostly none outside of governmental agencies.
So he tells me, on average, it takes companies about 207 days to even identify a breach. Then it's weeks to recover. So that's weeks without being able to produce or ship product, pay bills or employees. Worse yet, he says more than half of small manufacturers are insolvent within a year. And it's not just Russia that companies here at home have to worry about. Jones says China uses cyber attacks to try and steal intellectual property, and organized crime uses it as an easy way to get money. All right, some good tips for all of us to improve our cybersecurity. They say be wary of random, unexpected friend requests on social media like Facebook and LinkedIn. Use strong password phrases. Never take those online quizzes or use check-ins to share your location. Never use public Wi-Fi or make a purchase or provide personal info. And keep your antivirus updated and run that scan feature on your computer every couple of weeks. And also, it's so important that we vet news on social media. Confirm it with multiple reputable sources. And remember that countries that don't like us, they say, use fake news to try and destabilize us politically and ideologically.